which is, don't need that, don't need that, yeah, fine. This pad is my, and I really need to tidy up my desk, I know this. I've been using this pen, which is a cheapie. It's got a colour in it called Writer's Blood. Now normally I like to connect my colours to the ink pen. So for example, this one has terracotta pen. It's got ancient copper in it. And just grab a couple of other pens. Right, and you'll notice these are all Lamy. This one's got a mango ink in it because it's a mango pen. This one's got green, this one's got a pink. This one has got nothing in it at the moment, and I needed one of these the other day, so there you go, I've got one. I'm gonna put in charcoal. No, I'm not gonna put in charcoal. I'm gonna put in graphite, which is one of my favourites. That's my next pad. This, but I couldn't find a pen which suited this colour. A can, which is a Lamy Macron All-Star, but it's 40-50 quid, and I'm not at the point where I'm just going to throw a pen at cost at an ink colour. I wish I could, but there you go. Excuse me, coffee time. This is my pad. Now, I have nearly finished it. I'm going to do the last thing. I always start at the back, as people know. That is it. Kaijun versus Unicorn, and all the way through this pad I have drawn my thought processes. I always start with now this on each pad, and I end with and now, and I need to draw both and now pictures. Now this, I was thinking, do I do Unicorn, do I do Kaijun? Both felt quite different, but I thought, why not do both themes? Party Unicorn has for the past few years been my theme for Unicorn, but I fancied a bit of a change. A few years ago I'd drawn a picture of Danger Lizard, a kaiju style creature, versus a mechanoid bunny rabbit, and I thought I'd just go back and do Party Unicorn as a mech. So I started drawing out Japanese themed things, but also lots of people taking photographs of a danger lizard about to eat their heads off. And then the rest is it. That's it. I was just drawing the theme, mech unicorn, mech party unicorn, danger lizard, and so on. Cherry blossom trees, obviously, I love them. I'd love to go to Japan. I'd love to see a cherry blossom tree in situ. The likelihood is so low. It's untrue. Pagodas and whatever. Now, when I'm drawing it, I'm thinking about the 3D printing process as I'm doing it, because I want to 3D print it. I have 3D printed a couple of things, although I realise now that they're at the house, I think. I'm just having a look. Can't see one around me. So I have 3D printed a gong, a cherry blossom tree, I've got most things done. I just haven't got them put together. And actually, I'm not chasing it. I wanted to get it done for June. It's not going to happen. But I'm enjoying the design process. So basically, this is just drawing out things which fit the design process. There are a couple of blank spaces in the pad. I don't know, I think I had other ideas that I thought I'll draw that later, and then I've forgotten, because that's what I do. I like the bridge. The bridge is one of my favourite objects, and I must get this finished, but not anytime soon. A koi carp, gotta have those in the scene, and so on. That is a distraction. This is a dandelion. I fully intend to 3D print dandelion soon. I think I've got the plan for it now. I just got to get my behind in gear and do it. All of this is drawn, created, painted with an ink called Writer's Blood. Now, ironically, I was going to use this for another project coming up soon. I don't know if I will now, but there you go. I just pick ink up and go for it. This is kind of the fulfillment. Certainly this page is kind of the fulfillment of everything that I'm doing with this project, but it's Hopefully I'll get it done by July, who knows. And then I get to here. This is my and now page. I always generally start a moleskin with now this, and I always end it with and now, because I like this movement from one place to another. So I'm going to draw the and now. I got no plan for it per se. I drew this as a basis, which I wish I'd time-lapsed, and I didn't, because I'm an idiot. No, because I was drawing it and I didn't have a camera to hand. But I wish I'd time-lapsed it, because look, the one next I'll show you, really wish I'd done that. Time-lapse. So, and now, I've got to work out how I'm going to draw it. Now, in this case, I don't generally. What I should do, because I want to eventually, is start using pencil to plan out stuff. And to know what I'm doing, but I don't generally at the moment, because these are just ideas thrown into pads. Partially, I've been thinking about teaching a lot recently, and how arduous it is, but how much I like it. And my wife and I were chatting, as you do, because we do talk occasionally. And we were talking about the fact that some people are just inherently good at something, and that's what they hope to achieve, focus on for the rest of their lives. Well, I wanted that to be teaching. No, sorry, I wanted that to be artwork. But actually, the more I think about it, the more I think it is teaching. Which I'm not diminishing. I love teaching. But I kind of hoped I'd be picked up as an artist for my artwork, and not necessarily for teaching how somebody else can make artwork, even though I love that. So, vaguely I feel at a crossroads, partially because as hard as this year has been teaching, and as hard as last year was teaching, I suspect the next 2 years are going to be harder, because of the way that funding is changing and the way courses are changing. I don't know that for sure. I'm just aware and concerned. So I was just thinking, do I do what I frequently am jealous about in others, which is just chuck everything out and create artwork? And I know I'm not going to do that. I'm not brave enough to do that. But then the alternative is the flip side, that I throw more of myself into teaching. And do it by choice rather than through necessity, because it's often said that teaching is the only job where you have to go part-time in order to just do your full-time work. And a lot of teachers I know go part-time, me included, and then end up in their non-paid days doing the work that they have to do just to make teaching work. Not good. And teaching also is not a very valued profession, certainly in the UK. So those are the things in my brain. But in my mind it always leads to the obvious thing, which is leave teaching, just become an artist, full-time artist. But I'm just not brave enough to do that. I'm never going to be a social influencer. I am. Whatever. So, why is that saying reconnecting? So, actually that does say reconnecting. Why is that? Okay, let's try chat on another thing. And let's go into there. Cool, right. Sorry, that sounds miserable. It's not miserable. I'm quite happy. I am much relieved at the moment. The end of term was utterly and totally draining. Even with a shed load of work, I've still got a couple of students that we're putting in through emergency extensions through to August. For example, which means I'm going to spend some other summer holiday chasing them, which I don't want to do. But I do like it. But I've always seen it as my second job to freelance artwork, but freelance artwork is nothing at the moment. And therefore, it's my first job. So why not treat it that way? Consider it that way. So with that in mind, I've been doing a little bit of teacher training of the people I work with to teach them how to do some of the things that I do. And that was great. I really enjoyed it. So I don't know where I am at the moment. Go and figure. Right, so anyway, I'm finishing up this pad with the now text that I always do, which I love. Then I'll get onto the other pad. I'm going to finish that pad off. And then, hopefully, I'm going to draw something on a phone, which I really want to do. I've missed phone artwork. So, and then now. So like I say, this is writer's blood ink. Which has rapidly gone into my top 5. And that is why I should pencil these things in first. Not as bad, it's just not what I think I would have done if I penciled it and chosen. The next, anyway, so up until 3 months ago, I was all about the pocket pads, and I always had a moleskin in my back pocket, which I love. Now I'm all about the larger pads, the A5 ones. And I do love me a larger pad, a moleskin A5. And because of that, I've just thrown so much ink at a pad, it's untrue. Like, so much. That's been great. So that's made me very happy. The outcomes make me very happy. Which leads me to, so, and also I'm in this unusual situation where I finished 2 pads at the same time. Normally I've got a little bit of an overlap. So let me finish this off and I'll show you the other pad. Honestly, only 10 minutes. I should be more sloth. I should slow down more. But hey, sometimes it's just exciting. I want to get a picture finished. Then I rush it and I think, I shouldn't have rushed it. Life is funny that way. So this is now my and now page of my more or less June pad, I'm just going to give it a little bit of a water wash, just to give it a little bit of shade. And then I'll go on to the next one. Now the next one I should try and tell myself to go slower on, because I like the next one. I might even pencil it in. Look at me thinking ahead. Right, I'm also going to add an arrow, because I think an arrow will fit in nicely. There we go. Right, so, and now, because this leads to my next pad, which in this case is the other pad that I finished in June, which was moleskin large, this time with Peter Pan. And this is the other thing that I keep doing, and I keep trying not to do as much as I do. How's that looking? Is that okay? That's okay. If I'd penciled this, right, I need a pencil. Where's a pencil? Is that a pencil? That's a pencil. Where's a pencil sharpener? Oh, that's a good question. Where is a... Right, so I'm just looking at my... Where's a pencil sharpener? That's ridiculous. Right, so you look at my shelf. If I could, I'd move a camera. See, wow, I drop stuff off it. Fortunately, nothing too heavy. And look, and show you my absolutely disastrous, horrible mess of a shed and a shelf, especially. That's ridiculous. I can then not have a pencil sharpener there. That's frustrating. I have got a pencil sharpener. I know I have. In fact, to be honest, to be frank, I got 2 or 3. And I think I got 2 or 3 up here on my shelf. There we go. Good. Right. I'm going to pencil the next one. If I penciled this one, I would have had the arrow coming out of the top of the W. That would have made much more sense. Oh, I can hear that lovely pencil sharpening sound. I love that. Right, so that's pad 1. Look. Done, dude. Doink. Done. Done. Next pad, which I've also been working on throughout June. Slurp of coffee time. 2 slurps of coffee. Pad 2, start at the end again, obviously. This is my recalibrating pad. I was trying to work out what I was doing. Like I say, Lamy pen, diamine ink. I have used, and you just can't see it, but I've used about that much of the ink bottle just on this pen, pad. And again, it's just been a brain splurge. Some of it has been stuff related to projects, others of it haven't. Now let me just better. So, pad, in case I need to cut this out. Recalibrating. It's my recalibration pad. Things have not gone to plan this year for 1,000 reasons, primarily college related. So just try to replan, rethink my year through. I was halfway through the year pretty much, and I couldn't work out what I was doing with it. I'm trying to swap it down to finish things, to look at the things that I spent the first half of the year doing, work out what I want to finish. This, for example, so here it says finished paint tin. It's nearly finished. It's my 3D printable paint tin with unscrew something inside it. It's taken a lot of iterations to get to here, but I'm delighted with this. But it isn't quite finished. Congrats, a couple of people that I love got jobs, different jobs, so I was sent a congrats picture to them. The paint tin, some ideas, I was changing some of the bits around it. And so on. 2000 AD are having a competition for art stars. I can only dream of winning or even coming top 3. So, but I do love the theme of this month's the Mean Angels, the Angel Gang. So I've been drawing out ideas. I think I know what I'm going to do for it. You're allowed 2 submissions. So I think I'm going to do a group of grotty, grungy mutant cowboys playing cards, but the cards themselves are the Angel Gang. And the cards are kind of like that idea, like playing cards with the legends that you were surrounded with. You know, not always good legends. And then the other one will be, I think, a 3D printed, if I can do it, Mean coming out of the grave, a la Destiny's Angels, and Fink coming out of his hole that he does, like, for example, the 5th Angel. Don't know if I'll do it or not. I haven't decided. Like to. Then, I started drawing. Where did I get to? There. Believe, because sometimes I don't. Outrage, because I've got to get back to Outrage. I'm going to do some Outrage today. Dread, I've got a particular Dread picture that I can see in mind that I want to paint, which I'm going to do at some point. Ghibli-esque Garden Guardians, primarily for the Kaiju versus Kaiju scene, but I've been enjoying playing with them, as you do. This pad, just a brain splurge. It doesn't matter what goes in there. I'm not theming it up at all. I'm just throwing stuff in there, and occasionally putting some pictures that I want to keep a hold of, like a bit like a quite late diary. In the same way that I want to make paint tins, and I do, and I want to have different things in the paint tin top, which I do, I have always wanted to do cereal box tutorials and 3D printed objects. I don't know if I'll ever get around to it, but it's been in my mind for years, 4 or 5 years or so. I'd love to do that. Now I'm on the verge of giving up with a 3D app because it's just causing me loads of aggro. But if I could get all the things that I want to do in Paint 3D out of my head, I think I'd do it, splurge it, get it out and then give up. But I don't know yet. But what I will say is I'm enjoying ink more than anything at the moment. So then I got into a massive distraction. Could I make an octopus in Paint 3D with a brain popping out of the top of a football like a Magic 8 ball? And I've got a couple other pages of that as well. Like that, like a lid. And the answer is yes, I can. But no, I haven't got time. It's just a distraction. I don't want to defocus as much as I am. Now, which brings me to this. I was doing this with students the other day, and this is just circles. And you draw circles, and you draw what's in the circle. I'm going to do that today. That's the plan. And I really enjoyed it. So I drew a couple more. I do it as an art icebreaker for students, but I don't do it enough for me, which is what I should do if I wasn't an idiot. I am an idiot. So that brings me to this. Is what I'm going to do today on phone. That's the Magic Castle. I've got to finish. I'm going to finish this off. I've got a version 1 which I like a lot, but I think I could put some more stuff into version 2. I'm thoroughly enjoying watching Escape to the Chateau at the moment, so I thought, well, I could totally make that in 3D. A couple of lockdown beers that I've had, that I've kept the cans because I want to keep the labels. My original plan was to put these labels on a computer as a sticker-esque thing. I will get a new computer at some point. I need a new computer. but I've given up keeping these cans. I just thought I'd put them in there. Loki Alligator, L-O-K-I. I might get around to doing this as a picture at some point. But just getting the idea out of my head. This is the ink bottle. That is the ink bottle. Hang on, let's line up. Can I line up? So that's the ink bottle that I've been using. That much of that ink bottle is this pad. It's pretty much the only pad I've used this ink for. I am thoroughly enjoying throwing ink at a pad. One day I'll get back to these two characters. I do love these two, the frog and the flamingo. Don't know when, but that leads me to this. This is my final page, my and now page. Then the pad is finished. So let's do the and now. And this time, for once, I'm going to do a pencil sketch to work out what the hell I'm doing. I think, want this to be an ornate question mark. Because as much as I know what I'm doing at the moment, I don't actually know what I'm doing at the moment. I think I do. But every time I say I know what I'm doing, I don't. It's going to be a question mark there. Now I've got to fit in and now here. So I'm going to make the text quite small. Move the pen. And now good, cool. Now the problem with pencil behind ink is it is going to make the ink a little bit darker, but I don't, in this case I'm not worried about it. I don't think it's going to hurt. And then it's just, so there you go, that's me being different for once. I don't plan ahead and say to myself what I'm going to draw. I normally just draw it, which is why the other one is completely different. But this one, I just fancy being a bit more methodical. Now, wish I did have was a really good white gel pen. I could add some highlights and stuff in, but I don't. I might do one day. So, and now I'm going to have the underline coming out of the D, which then means what I'm going to do with that W. Yeah, and I can do that at the W as well. Good, cool, fine. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw an underline under there as well. Fine. Then the other one. So like I said, I'm going to do this first. That'll take me up to 1/2 I've done 2.5 an hour. That is ridiculous. Then I'm going to do my phone painting, because I haven't done that for ages and I really fancy it. One of the things I always mean to get more into is some sort of illustrated typography, because every time I've done a drawn type thing, drawn word thing, I've really enjoyed it, but I've always thought this is where I could improve the most. This is where I need to improve the most. So I'm just going to make that a little bit bolder, and just going to make that a little bit bolder, and so on. Going to let that dry, and now, so now we'll do the question mark. But that is the culmination of this pad, which is different for me, and I like it. Makes me smile. Now it's a question mark because I don't actually know what I'm doing. Now hang on, let me just think. Yeah, I'm going to. I don't know what I'm doing, basically, next month. I think I do, which I'll get onto soon, which will be circles and adding stuff into it. But I don't know for sure. So the main intention for next month is, well, obviously, I don't want a theme. In as much as I've got enough things to finish off, thank you very much. So why not go easy on myself? So the theme of next month is going to be to finish some of the things that I've not finished off this month. Such as Roadjaws and Mechquake and Kaijun and all sorts of things. After that, I think I'm going to draw circles and I'm not going to worry about whether they get finished in July. How are we looking? And now, yeah, it's alright. But I need a dot, 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 and now. So this is my recalibrating pad. And this, now, hopefully dry, is done. Ha ha ha, 2 pads done. So, pad 1, Woink, pad 2, both finish with and now, because these both go on to the next pads, and now, and now. Woink, I'm quite happy with those. So the last thing I'm going to do for this stream is, he said, throwing his pads casually onto his chair. Last thing I'm going to do is this. It's been on charge, so it should be okay. I'm just going to make sure, hang on, one thing. So I'm going to load up Outrage, but I want to make sure it opens up in a brand new picture. Or at least not on a picture. Okay, that's cool, I can handle that. So, last, this. I need this. A stylus. And possibly this one, another stylus. So, not going to do a password on the screen. Let's see how we go colour-wise. I might have to redo the colour. Let's see how it goes. So, oops, wrong one. Where are we? There. Outrage. Now, so this is one that I've been drawing on Outrage. I haven't quite got it finished yet, and oh my goodness, the colours are going terrible. Because that bit there is supposed to be quite a dark grey. Not dark grey, but a grey. So let me just quickly see if I can fix that. Give me the cameras. Where are we at? That one. Advanced. So let's turn that on. Off. No. 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 It's not going to work at all, is it? No. Okay, let's just take this down way low. No. Hang on. Well, this is the negative. Let me just see if this camera works any better. Doink. Let's go for that one. But that's slightly better. So I might go for that. But I do have to redo the focus fairly obviously. And I'm going to have to be really still. Because it's going to joggle about all over the place. But, do you know what? I don't care. The other problem is the focus slider doesn't work on my tablet. I don't know why. There we go. Right, okay, cool. Last thing, new. So painting. I'm going to do the thing that I do with students, which brings me joy to do teaching. Okay, I want it to bring joy to me. Drawing it as well. This is on a Motorola tablet. Motorola tablet, Motorola phone. So I start with circles, and this is the one that I was, and this is why I want to do circles over July, which is I did this the other day with kids on a Zoom call art class. I really enjoyed it. I start with 4 circles, well, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I add different circles on it, and then I say to all the students, all the people involved in what I'm doing, now I'd like you to turn it into a picture. And the picture is a UFO. So let's add the UFO in here. With an alien inside. No, with an alien and an animal. But I always word it to basically say, look, it could be the animal in the spaceship, it could be the alien. Being abducted by the animal. It's up to you. I'm going to do the classic. The rabbit being abducted. Well, abducted is quite a strong word. I'm going to have the rabbit being rescued and saved from the world by an alien. So this is roughly what I'm going to do. So, new. Whack it up high. And then that's it. This is it. So I'm doing this partially because I can use it in my teaching later. And show this as an example of an outcome. Always scared. And I know this is not an outrage thing, this is an Android thing. Always scared. I'm going to click on no and don't save. Now, almost always, and today I'm going to do it, I do a little incut into the UFO. And white for the glass above. I'm going to do the alien green, again, the classic. Now, I'm going to do a dark blue curlyish outline like that. And then the light coming out of the thing will be yellow, and it'll get much stronger in the middle. And then dark green all around. And so now I'm trying to channel something I'm not, which is a little bit of he said, hang on, I'm just trying to look at the screen more. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm trying to channel a little bit of artists who I admire. And one of the artists that I just adore, and every time he pops up on Instagram, and I love his stuff to pieces, is, I'm just trying to find it so we can see it. Why is it not showing up so much? Why are you not showing up? This says me right. I should have looked this up first. But it just literally popped into my brain. Oh, that's why, because it's auto-correcting. Why is it auto-correcting that to that? Bizarre. So, him, obviously. Goro Fujita, what a legend. For some reason, autocorrect kept redoing it to Giro, which is irritating. Now, he's one hell of an artist. And I look at his stuff and I think, right, come on, I have got to be a little bit more Goro. Which is what I'm going to try and do with this one. And what Goro does beautifully is shading and toning and so on. So that's what I'm going to try and do with this. And I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I'm quite... No. I do know what I'm going to do. As much as I plan this out on paper as an ink sketch, haven't planned this out colour-wise yet, apart from in my brain. And I think I know what I'm doing. But like always, I don't. I say I think I know what I'm doing. I wish I did. But I kind of, as I was drawing it on paper, I thought to myself, this is what I want to do. But now that it actually comes to doing it, it evolves, it changes in my brain. I'm just going to swap to the roller because I love the roller. And it gives me just a little bit more of a flat shape brush, which I'm going to use to tone. Now, what I kind of want is the light to undulate a little bit with the ground underneath it. And eventually I'm just going to tear out some of that. And I want the grass behind him to be really light green, lit by the light, highlighted by the light. Does that make sense? Right, so dark grey. Light grey. Now this is a mid-range, and then it's going to be darker because it's got the light behind it. It's a mid-range phone. I think what I want is the green of the alien to be slightly lighter inside the shell. Is what I want. And then I want some grey within the shell as well, but I want there to be, there we go, a little bit of purple for him to be sitting on in comfort, and a little bit darker purple around the light. Right, a little bit of light. Whoops, I don't know, I'll get that later. Where the thing is, and then the eyes. Ears, pink of the nose, slightly fluffy tummy. Yes, that's what I want. So, right, this is what I want. Now I've just got to make it work. I'm going to move these pens out of the way. I'm not doing anything with pens at the moment. And I'm just going to start teasing some of the colours around with a palette knife. And what that's also going to do is give me a slightly stronger outline. And actually I do that, and then I can see there's some highlight of the light on things that are facing, which I totally want. I didn't even think about that. There's me trying to be more Goro and think about where the light is. And I didn't even think about that. That was silly of me. Now, underneath the head, there's going to be quite a lot of dark. So I'm going to go quite dark and add that in there. There's going to be quite a lot of dark there, quite a lot of dark there. That's where the legs are. Fine. At some point I need to say to myself, okay, this is the, I'm going to do this and I'm going to lose that after last. Good, right, cool. Let's start doing the final picture. Now the final picture, I use the palette knife to block in all the colours, all of the shades and stuff. This time, this is so bumpy, I'm so sorry. I use the paint knife just to draw the final pictures where I think they're going to be. So I want his antennae, deely boppers, to come out of the glass shell. Good old TikTok. I've got on that on because I feel like I need to do something on TikTok. I just don't know what yet. So I start using a paintbrush, yes, but also with the roller and the palette knife, depending on what I'm doing. And that's it, I just keep playing with the paint colours. So, this is the inside of the ear, and this is going to be outside the outside of the antenna. And then I'm going to give him 3 eyes. And body. And I might give him tentacles on steering wheel. Do you know what? I'd hope not. I hope, but I can already feel that this picture is going to take significantly longer than I wanted. That said, let's see if I can get it done in 30 minutes, 40 minutes. So I'm adding basically every bit that I do, I detail in a bit more than it was. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to have the light coming from the cutout in the middle of the ship. Yes. And for me, obviously it depends on what people are going to do with their pictures. So the reason why I teach this is because it can be any alien, it can be any animal. So it's quite an open picture to ask people to draw once you give them the foundation lines. I'm going to do this next year, next academic year, a little bit differently. To the way I've done it the past couple of years. In as much as I'm going to demand a little bit of a better picture. Because I've done this as quite a quick and simple picture, because I've been bored of it is the wrong way around of saying it, but because I've done it so often, I streamline the class and therefore I streamline the outcome. Which is the wrong way of doing it, wrong way of saying that. So what I'm going to do is, next year, I'm going to slow it down. I'm going to say to people, right, I want 3 outcomes out of you. I want a 2D and a 3D on computer digital, and I want a 2D traditional. And I want you to draw it 3 times, because repetition is not a bad thing to get students to do. However, I'm going to demand that each one's slightly improved, slightly more experimental than the last one. That's what I'm going to demand. Next year I'm going to be a demanding teacher. because the past 2 years have been weird. And this is a terrible confession to make. Part of the reason why I haven't been as demanding the past couple of years, and I know I haven't, is because the more demanding you are, the more you have to chase work out of the students, and that's been tough. Because to chase work out of a student, you kind of have to be prepared to be a little bit grumpy and bolshy and, I asked for this work, where is this work? And whilst we've been in COVID world, I felt a little uncomfortable doing that because there might be 100 damn good reasons why the work is not in. And obviously we are still in COVID world, and the UK itself is putting itself in a place where potentially it's putting itself into a disastrous COVID world, given our leadership, which is awful. So I'm going to still be aware of a student's need for thoughtfulness and kindness, but we've had 2 years of this, and obviously everyone's different, but there should be things in place for a student to work around what's going on. And I'm not saying there is, and I think I'm always going to be understanding if students says, I just really can't get this done. But I think I've got to stop saying, I don't know what even I am saying. I've got to stop assuming that a student can't. And I've got to stop being aware that I can start being bolshy again. Which is what I'm going to spend the next year being. Excuses are good if they are. Excuses are fine if there's reason, but not if there's not. Right, so this is I've never ever worked out how to do camera video. Let's have a look. I've got my mouse back. Of course I haven't got my mouse back, honestly. Let's have a look. Overhead. You see, look at that. Look how bad that is. Can't work with that. If I turn these lights off, any better? No, nothing. Whereas this one, my over shoulder camera, just wobbles left, right and centre. Don't know what to do. But I've got to carry on doing this. I love Art Rage. Look at that, all those little arty artifacts. Look at all that feel of tactility that you get. Hello Slofi, yes I do. And by yes I do, I mean, I don't know, Oh no, right, and like I go into the automatic setting for white balance. Let's have a look. So I have got software that does, the Logitech software that does white balance. Let's go into here. Let's go into that one, advanced. Let's go to overhead. Let's go back here. This is it with auto white balance on. And this is it with auto white balance off. And can I find a coloration that works? No. Color intensity down, brightness down, contrast roughly the same. Like literally that's as good as I can get, and that's totally not what it is. Which is frustrating. Let me just bring the brightness down a bit. If I can. Brightness down a little bit. Is that any better? It's a little better. Oh no, yeah, auto's not great. So actually the first thing that I do when I'm doing this is turn auto white balance off when I set up a stream going. Anyway, hello Sleafy, have you been there all the time quiet, or have you been just joined? But auto isn't good. But I turn off auto straight away. Well, that serves me right, because I asked 2 questions. And I don't remember which one you were answering. You have been there quiet all the time. Oh, is it still boiling hot? Here, not so hot. Muggy, but not hideous. Ooh, and were they fantastic rain showers? I'd have been so tempted to be outside in it. I'm totally into ferocious weather at the moment. I stood outside yesterday. Was it yesterday? No, day before. Looking at the sunset, because it looked like it was going to be a really nice one. I thought, okay, I'm going to physically watch it and just look at the colour changes and whatever. And I got bitten by a mozzie. And the funny, I could feel I've been bitten. It was fairly obvious. And I went inside and I said, have I been bitten? I feel like I've been bitten. Do I need to take an antihistamine? So my wife said, okay, take your top off. I was on my back. Lift the top up so we can see. And it was, it was one of those League of Gentlemen moments where she said, let me have a look, I'll tell you if you flip me. And I said, "Oh, it's bad then, is it?" She goes, "Have you got a camera?" Yes. So I took a photo of it, and it was a mozzie bite that had grown to, how big was it? It was about the length of this pen. The blister that had grown up around it, and it was colossal. So she was like, "I think you need to take double the histamine dose because you can." And I thought, that goes serves me right. I'm outside looking at the beauty of the nature, and nature bites me. Bloody hell. Anyway, I'm now totally antihistamined up, and it has gone down to, at the moment, it's only about the size of 50p piece or something like that. But it did amuse me, the fact it went from being, yeah, I'll have a look. Ah! Look at that. Look at the weird thing. I know it still itches a bit now, but it's not too bad. Like miles better. The first night, it was just like going, "Can you still feel it?" Yes, I can still feel it. Does it still hurt? Yes, it still hurts. Have you taken antihistamine? Yeah, 2 in the past hour. I'm not going to take any more. It was. I was impressed by the bite. I mean, so much so that we drew a biro thing on it just to make sure it didn't grow in the night or change shape. Unfortunately, it had gone down by the morning a bit. And the irony was, it wasn't even that good a sunset that I was looking at. It was good, and it started off brilliantly, and at the end of it, it was all right. I was kind of, it had very nice pink highlights on the clouds, but they pretty quickly went to a place where I couldn't see them from my vantage point. And then this is my art rage thing. I just keep throwing pixels around and see what I get. Anyway, apart from baking hot, how are you? How is work treating you? Did you? And how was it? I've seen mixed reviews. But then again, I see mixed reviews for everything. And was it nice to be out in the real world? Cool, 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 cool. I want to see it, but I'm vaguely unhappy with the way that the central character not even the central character, because it sounds like she's not even the central character in her own film. But the way in which that character has been written out, I don't overly like. So I do want to see it though, because yeah, because I think that character deserved their own film. But again, I don't actually know if it sounds like she's got it. And of course, it's an obvious question, but did you say for the end credit scene, was there an end credit scene? There would have been an end credit scene, wouldn't there? Yeah, and they had to be scene stealers, because obviously they are the ones progressing this narrative, I assume, not having seen it. But again, do you know what? That just feels a little disrespectful to the person whose film it is named after. A little, not massively. But I do want to see it, like I say. Right, how are we doing on this colour-wise? Not brilliant, not terrible. Not the best. Yes, absolutely. That is one of the things Marvel have done brilliantly. Is the continuation of story, the feeling that a mid-credit scene is worth staying for, worth looking at all the credits for. I like that. I think again, it's a value thing, but it values the people who've worked on the film to actually say, no, we're going to make people sit here and look at your names, even though they're not massively taking notice, or they're just waiting for an end credit scene. I still like the idea that they're saying to people, no, the credits are something that are a valuable part of the film. And I like that. So pretty much always when I draw this picture with the students, I draw this in a positive way. So the animal is never scared to be going away with the alien. And it's never. I always call it alien abduction because it's a great alliteration, but I don't. It's not an abduction to me. It's more a rescue scenario. So I think I did this on Thursday. The one I did on Thursday was it rescuing a polar bear. Because let's be honest, polar bears need rescuing. Yeah. I like the idea of alligator, crocodile, whatever it is, Loki. I wouldn't say I like Sylvie more. I don't know that I like Sylvie as a character per se, but I like the way that the actor portrays Sylvie. And I like the facial looks that she gives to certain things. I think she's and I think she's gorgeous as well, which duh. But I think she's great. So Sylvia I kind of like. I kind of, I am enjoying Loki, and I do like Crocodile Loki. I don't know that I'm enjoying it as much as the internet seems to like it. The internet seems absolutely happy with the whole show, and I'm okay with the whole show, but I wouldn't say I'm trying to work out if I want to have like really spiky bits of light going through the whole thing. I think I do. Yes, I must admit, I like the character though. I was very glad when was not permanently dealt with. The character that did seem to be permanently dealt with, I was a bit sad to see them go, because I would love to see them back in some way. And I know that at the moment the whole point of this all is that death is not permanent. Potentially. I am interested to see where they go with next episode. Next episode is the last of the series, isn't it? Yeah, well, those corners of the internet I tend not to look at anyway. And I'm not surprised. I mean, there is a little bit of a, well, not Oedipal, but a family interest in there. Yeah, it's interesting. I wonder what they, yeah. I wonder how much, given the internet pushback over the end of WandaVision, I wonder how much that possibly informed the end of Loki. Because WandaVision was almost slated for not having been what is the word? Adventurous enough with the finale. And I wonder if that's led into the Loki thing, because the Loki thing could be an important finale. It's bringing in Kang. If it's bringing in Kang, it could bring in the Fantastic Four. Theoretically, I don't think it will. Yeah, it's hard to know, isn't it? Whether you could have fitted in reshoots. But hey, at least it's not another Falcon and Winter Soldier thing. And I thought that was a thumping disappointment of a show. Personally, so if I would say, as much as it's not necessarily a show I might have hoped for, it's not at all bad. And I adore Tom Hiddleston as a character. I think he is fabulous. And I like Sylvie Lates. I think she's lovely. I am sincerely glad it's not as hot here as it is there. Because if it was as hot here as it is there, I think my phone would have melted. Does this mean one of these lights is going down? Well, I've still got 3. I do like Alligator Loki's philosophy, which is basically if it does not agree with you, bite its hand off. And I love that. Right, let's have a look at the alien a bit more. My only thought process with Loki finale is, and whether it's going to be more of a thing than WandaVision or Falcon and Winter Soldier, I think is, to me, to Marvel, Loki must be more of an A-lister character. Whereas my guess is that Wanda and Vision and the other guys are more B-lister characters. And I was thinking about the fact that, you know, they opened up a San Diego Comic-Con with Loki delivering a speech, didn't they? I think they realised he was a breakout character. So I feel that if they were going to do anything massively ground shaking, I feel Loki, out of the three of them, is the one that they would want to say, okay, let's do something with this one. As a guess. Only as mentioned, I think they know that in a Thor film, Loki is as much of a draw as Thor is. And actually, I've never, up until recently, like a few weeks ago, I'd never watched Dark World, Thor Dark World, because I'd always assumed it was terrible because of the press it gets and slating it gets. I don't think it was that bad. I don't think it was that good, but I didn't think it was that bad. I didn't feel like my time was wasted watching it. I thought there are a couple. I wouldn't say it's fair to call it the worst Marvel film. Ha ha ha! Hello, Pansy. How are you? You're right. Oh, Pantsu, I pretty printed and I forgot to bring it up with me, and I should have done. The model that I made. Maury, you were online the other day. And it actually pretty printed really nicely. I am intending to make a couple of changes. But it did 3D print quite nicely. Even as big as my 3D printer will go, I can't fit a tea light into it, which is a bit of a bummer. But it is online. So I'm sure I put pictures of it onto Insta and stuff. But yeah, no, it came out really nicely. I was glad I did that one, actually, given that hadn't been the plan. I haven't finished the scene yet, but given that we're now past June, I'm not pushing myself for it too far. Yeah, no, pretty much. I will go along with that. Actually, ironically, it had been in the shed earlier, but I took it into college with me to show some of the students the other day. So I know where it is. It's on the kitchen table. Is it on the kitchen table? It's probably on my kitchen table. But yeah, I will admit I have said that a couple of times in the past. Well, it's kind of a bunny rabbit, and it's more the fact it's less getting abducted, and more being rescued, which I did fancy then doing it as a polar bear. Being rescued, because I think there's more of an obvious link to it. But yeah, that's currently, I don't know. So it's a thing that I do with my students a lot. Excuse me, a little bit of coffee. It's a thing I do with my students a lot, which is just to draw the circles and then to draw the thing that comes out of it. It's one of the first art classes I do with my students. But I realised the other day that as much as I then expect them to create the final piece, I don't always do that. In fact, I frequently don't. So I thought it was time for me to do the outcome. And then in some way show them, but show them at the end of the process so I don't influence what they're doing for their final piece. But yeah, no, this is one of my first art class things that I do. Okay, yes. And I'll admit that this alien does have big teeth. So I will admit that it doesn't, it looks like it could possibly eat the bunny rabbit. The panda bit, not the panda, the polar bear picture, if I ever get around to drawing that one, I think it would be fairly obvious that, you know, a polar bear on its tiny little island of rapidly melting ice, it would be fairly obvious that the alien was coming in to help. However, yeah. Okay, you've got me. Yeah. Most alien abductions, yeah. It does look like they've got a purpose which is not necessarily beneficial to humanity. But I try and put the good thing, the good rationale reason there, only because my students are a bunch of cynical Watsits. And I think saying to them, this is an alien abduction of an animal, their first thought would be to draw something a bit grim and grotesque. Whereas I'm trying to put the positives, if I can. But yeah, I will give you that. So this is it. So it all starts. Oh no, I can't. I'm about to throw it away. I'll throw it to a different place. Basically, it's I just start out with the circles. Have I got them as a layer? Yeah, no, I have. So I will start out with those circles. If you can see them, let's have a look. Yes, you can. Then I bring in more detail, like that. And then I've just spent the past 30 minutes or so adding in colour and shade and more detail. Yeah, yeah. I think we are, you know, I think we are surrounded by media which has a cynical bent to it is the wrong way of putting it. But I think our imaginations occasionally go to the grim and the gritty and the whatever first anyway. And I certainly don't say to them, you have to imagine this story any one way. But me personally, I always try and draw it positively if I can. Only because I know that the alternative is a bit grim. Yeah, no, and I'm totally up with contrast. So a alien popping out to get some food for a barbecue is a logical way for the narrative to go. I think my contrast, I think mainly is if you think of alien abduction, I can't think of many narratives where it's a positive thing. The Pixar film, I can't remember what it's called, but the one with the kid learning to do his first alien abduction is quite cute. Yeah, no, ditto. Yep. So no, that's where I am. But as a first art class type thing, it's a nice icebreaker. Then again, the first thing that I do with Photoshop is totally different. So I have different different things that I do. My Photoshop class, I love that the first Photoshop class. I adore. It's definitely one of my favourite things I've ever done.